Hey you all, today we are going to talk about limbic system rewiring. Hey, I'm Melissa with The Simple Life Wife. I make videos on natural and healthy living. If you're into that, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. Have you ever heard of the limbic system? To be honest, I really hadn't. If I had, I didn't know what it was for sure. I don't know how long ago this was. Somewhat recently, I had been, on one of my videos, I had talked about the nervous system, and actually I think in that video I was talking about how I was doing, because I've been dealing with ulcerative colitis over the past year, and just kind of an update on my health and everything. And somebody commented on there something about the limbic system, and if you're that person, thank you. Something about how they thought I needed work on my limbic system. And so that's one way this YouTube channel is really cool, is that we can help each other. And they had put a link to some machine or something, which anyway, it got me started. And they said they struggled with for many years with, I can't remember what it was, but until they realized it was a limbic system issue. And so I kind of researched it a little bit and kind of went in and out of researching it, because I didn't really get it. And but the more, somehow I came across this website called, or this group called Limbic System Rewiring, I think. And so there are a bunch of different programs and groups you can find when it comes to rewiring your nervous system, basically, is what it comes down to. And a lot of them focus mostly or only on the mind, which is good. It's really good, because mostly people that have chronic illnesses of any sort, and I'm saying any sort, anywhere from digestive like complaints like constipation, diarrhea, all the way to like Lyme disease, chronic, as long as it's not like a broken bone, I'm not talking about that, not an acute illness, but all of the other chronic type illnesses would fall under the category of being helped by this, from what I'm learning. And obviously I'm still learning, so just to take all this with a grain of salt. And if I'm not saying it all perfectly, just have a little grace on me if you know more, and just put it in the comments below if you know something that I'm saying not quite right. But this group that I found is actually a Christian group called Limbic System Rewiring, I think is the name. And so they not only focus on the mind, but also the spirit, which, if you've seen some of my more recent videos, I think I made one specifically on the emotions and the spiritual side of things, because I've been coming across this in lots of different avenues of life, realizing that is, like, have you ever thought about how your spiritual life and your mental life, can you call it that, how your mind is doing can affect how you physically are, like literal physical issues that you have. And so that's been more of my focus lately. I've done all the dieting stuff, the sensitivity stuff, and all the labs and the supplements. And I recently did this 3-month program, which I'm really glad I did. It taught me which supplements can help me if I'm having ulcers in my colon, things like that, and to help with that. But I found since then that it's very supplement heavy, which supplements are super expensive, and labs and all that is like, it's crazy how much money you can spend on that stuff. And then I found if I tried to come away from my supplements, like lots of supplements, I tended to go back towards constipation and my digestive issues where I'm not absorbing. And I even had labs recently with my functional doctor, and they still didn't look great, even though I was able to get rid of some of my ulcerative colitis issues. So obviously something's still out of whack. I'll get into all of my things that I'm doing this program for a little bit later. But so the limbic system, if I'm understanding this right, it's basically the different systems of your brain and how it is telling your body to work. So, and honestly, I can't tell you even right now what all the different systems are, because I've been doing this workshop the past week of different videos with this program, and I'll link the program below. There's been this free workshop of what it all is and how it all works. And so your brain is telling your body basically what it should be doing. All the different systems work together. And specifically, we're looking at the vagus nerve, which is, I think, the longest nerve in your body. It goes like down your neck through your chest, and I don't know how far down, but I think it is the regulator of the nervous system, particularly adrenaline and cortisol. Okay, so that's kind of the general picture of what we're looking at with the limbic system. And so when you're living with a lot of chronic health issues, and maybe you just have one. My huge thing, I assume most of my life, honestly, I can't remember through my childhood, but as far back as I can remember, I have dealt with fatigue, like strong fatigue. I still deal with that. It did get a little worse during my, when my ulcerative colitis was really bad. And it did get a little bit better as I went through that program. But I would still call it extreme fatigue, where I'm just tired all the time. So basically, your body gets stuck in this fight or flight response. And this program says it's a fight, flight, or freeze response. And it gets frozen in this stressed state. And it could be a spiritual issue. It's probably both spiritual and just mentally, how your mind, how you're handling life and the stressors in life. And then suddenly your body thinks everything is a stressor because you've filled up your cup with stressors of like your perceived stress. And then so any little extra stress that comes in, like for instance, your son comes in yelling, it just overflows the cup. And so you're just snapping all the time. Like you can't take any little stressor anymore that a normal working nervous system should be able to handle a stressor that comes in, deal with it in a normal way. But anyway, people that are having limbic system issues, they can't handle it all. And also, so you have to start taking out foods, and you get really obsessed with researching your health, which is totally what I've done. And you keep thinking, oh, it's all physical, I've got to find the right supplement, all that. And I mean, that is a road that has no end, because God made our bodies so intricate and interesting. And like there are so many supplements out there that really could help, but do you want to live on a supplement? I don't want to feel dependent on something. I mean, if we're talking about root causes, you should be able to take away the supplements at the end of the day and function normally, and then you've dealt with your root cause. And so like this is anything like parasites, which I've been dealing with lately, Lyme disease, brain fog, body aches, food sensitivities. People have gotten so sensitive they can't even take their supplements anymore. Like your mind is telling your body that everything is a stress. And so everything has become so stressful, SIBO, candida, and it's telling you that you're sick, and it's making you sick, and it's accepting basically all these sicknesses, if I'm getting this straight in my mind. And so I'm sure in your mind you're thinking of someone. If it's not yourself, it's probably someone else that's chronically having another issue after another issue, or like they can't have barely any foods, all these things. And I think of a lot of autoimmune diseases with this kind of thing. But so I'm not going to talk too much more about it, because I definitely am not to the point where I can even answer questions about it. I just want to document what I'm learning as I'm learning, because I do plan to start their program. They had a free week of videos. And so before I talk about the program, just some different avenues that I realized I needed to work on this. For one thing, I made a video 3 months ago or something about how I realized my family and I needed to work on our nervous system. I have one child in particular that is obviously always on edge and having major meltdown type issues. So I knew that child needed some nervous system work, because I had heard about a nervous system chiropractor. So basically you go to the chiropractor a whole bunch of times, like tons, close together, and it's a specific nervous system chiropractor, a particular kind of chiropractor. And the idea is that your spine is out of alignment, and therefore your vagus nerve is not able to, your nervous system is not communicating like it ought to. Therefore, things are messing up. So we have been doing that, and we are still doing that. In fact, we have an appointment in like an hour to go again. We go a few times a week, and that lasts for, so many months. It's a lot. It's a lot. And as far as an update on that, I will do that in another video. If you're interested in an update to the nervous system chiropractor stuff, just say that below, and I can make a video updating on that. But so that's only one piece of the puzzle when it comes to the nervous system, though. Like, that is aligning your spine so that everything can flow freely and it can communicate like it ought to. But I'm finding that the nervous system and the stress response and all that, it's so much more than that, because it's how you're thinking. Even if your body's communicating, like your thoughts and your spiritual life and how you respond to truth and all that stuff, that is feeding what is being communicated. So even if everything is flowing freely and being communicated properly, the right things have to be communicated. And so I'm not dissing the chiropractic part of it, but I don't think that's even the main thing when it comes to nervous system work. I'm learning that. So the program that I'm talking about with Limbic System Rewiring it talks about neuroplasticity, and how basically how you respond to something over and over is the pathway that your brain is. It's like a habit. The pathway your brain is going to take. It's just like, I don't know, the way you brush your teeth. You probably go on a particular side first, and you go to the other side. It's just autopilot, basically. So you've got to learn these new autopilot ways of responding to stress, and so build new pathways. And they have all these different procedures for how to build new pathways and how to get out of the stress response when there's a stressor happening to you. So it's called visualization and different things, which visualization very much apparently comes up in other limbic system programs. The problem with the other programs, and from what I can see, what I don't think is great, is they don't focus on the spiritual side, and they're usually not Christian programs. And if you know of one besides this one that is, you're more than welcome to put that below. But to me, the spiritual component goes first, and then we worry about our mind, and then we worry about our body. But the way I've been handling it the past year is, I would say the way most people, at least in the United States, that handle when we have physical issues going on, illnesses of some sort, we look at our physical first, and then maybe we'll look at the mind, maybe, and that's usually a hard maybe. But how often do we look at how our spiritual, like how we're responding to God and connecting with God and believing God, how often do we think that actually affects our physical? So anyway, this is a 3-month program. I plan to start soon, and I'm actually excited to start it with my husband. We both see that we both have issues that need work on. I mean, everybody has issues, but to be honest, I think a lot of people could just use could probably handle some work in this area. I'm not saying you have to go spend money on a program, but yeah. So anyway, when I finished with my with Crohn's colitis lifestyle, the 3-month ulcerative colitis program that I had done more recently, I think it finished the end of February or something, and it's mid-April now. And one of my last calls with him, with the coach, with the founder actually of the program, I was doing really well physically, basically, and I had improved a whole lot. Like, my bleeding went away, major stuff. Like, I'm really thankful for that program. But he was asking me about how I was feeling and stuff, and I admitted to him that I felt really stressed, and I always have this feeling of anxiety and fight or flight. And the more we talked about it, I mean, he had good things to say, And at the end, when we were finally done talking, he's like, I'm worried about you. I think you need to, or concerned, whatever word he used. He was like, I think you need a good year of at least an hour a week talk with, like, basically some kind of therapist or counselor, to some kind of mind work, or I don't know, he was into other things, just mental type things, to work through my stressors and traumatic whatever issues going on beneath the surface. And I totally agree. I've known that. That's why I started the nervous system chiropractic work. And then actually probably a month later, I finished up with my functional doctor, because I had like a 6-month stint, where we were together. It was call it a program, but anyway. So our last visit, which was last month, few weeks, 2 weeks ago probably, we talked for a long time and everything. And my labs actually didn't look amazing. They were like, some things were better, like my heavy metals looked a lot better, things like that. But something like my B12, and I could obsess about this if I start talking about it, so I'm not going to. But just different things were just bottomed out still. And as we talked about my issues, and then we were walking out of the room, like, to finish up, and she's like, yeah, the more I do this, the more I realize most people that come to me, at the root of it, it's a stress issue. And it was just kind of one of those in passing comments, but I realized the more I'm learning about the limbic system, because that functional doctor actually had her own ways of dealing with stress, and it was called like NET, and I don't know, I felt funny about it. It was kind of like muscle testing, like you talk about what your subconscious is, I don't know, and then she like adjusts you while you're talking about it. I don't know. Anyway, so that was kind of her way of dealing with the stress mind part of it, and even subconscious holding the stressors. So I've been getting this, and of course books I've been reading talk about this stuff. Yeah. Did you watch my New Zealand's Greatest Doctor video? I am still so impressed with that doctor. If you haven't watched that video, you should. Anyway, he definitely was in the realm of the mind, and he was in the spiritual realm too, like of the spirit, like is the biggest thing that's affecting your health. And then more recently, this Hope for Cancer book by Antonio Jimenez. He has the way that they deal naturally with cancer patients. They first look at spiritual, then the mind, and then the body. Even people that have cancer, And he has a whole chapter on the emotions, and how the emotions actually cause cancer in different organs, different places, like the specific trauma and emotions that you're dealing with. So I've been thinking about it a lot, and so I just wanted to, for one thing, bring you along. I'm excited to share in case it's something that can be helpful to you. So if you're interested, I'll put some links below so you can find out a little bit more about what I'm talking about with the particular program. And I think there's a masterclass video that's free to watch. But also, this is documenting for myself and helping me remember exactly what I'm going through as I go through the stages. That's what I've been doing this whole past year with various health things that I've tried. And yeah, so here we are. I'm not even on day 1 yet, but I wanted to at least let you all catch up to where I am as I'm beginning the program. All right, if you have questions, put them below, and I have no idea if I'll be able to answer them, but I'll try. Okay, bye.